And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on in to the PWTorch Fireside Chat for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. I'm PWTorch Assistant Editor Zack Heydorn. It is awesome to be with you. Sorry I missed you guys a little bit late last week. Had some some things to attend to, but all is well, and just super glad to be back here on the PWTorch YouTube channel to chat with all you guys. So if you haven't done so already and you're checking us out live, please make sure to hit the little subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you have, go ahead and hit the notification button so that we can so that you always can be up to speed on when we're live and when we've got new content up on the channel. And usually that is every single day, live every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then on the weekends when there's a big pay-per-view event. So Tyler was on the air on Monday previewing WWE and talking Monday Night Raw and the ups and downs of that show. And usually on Tuesdays, we've got NXT show where we chat NXT and preview that week's episode of NXT. Wednesday, today, we will be talking AEW Dynamite. Zach is joining us live. Excited about that. Zach, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Thursday is flagship day here on YouTube. We have the flagship edition of the Fireside Chat, where Tyler Sage and myself are here with you, taking your questions, talking about the news of the week in professional wrestling, and just kind of shooting the breeze with you guys on all things wrestling. So yeah, and then Friday, of course, we are previewing AEW. We are previewing SmackDown. Probably the hottest wrestling show on television right now. We'll do a preview of that. Usually sometime in the afternoon on Fridays. So that's our schedule. And once again, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It's been up and running for almost a year now. How crazy is that? And we just had such a blast building it and such a blast creating a community with you guys. And so keep joining us. We've got a lot of exciting things coming to the channel here very soon, as promised during the busy season of wrestling, which is right into WrestleMania season here. But we're not here to talk WrestleMania. We are here to talk AEW Dynamite. Tonight's AEW Dynamite, and it's a pretty big show. It's a match heavy show, as usual with AEW, and I think it's got some exciting things on it and some potential segments and matches that I think can help facilitate stories in AEW. Leading up to the pay-per-view coming up here in a couple weeks at AEW Revolution. So when I take a step back, when I look at like the big picture of AEW right now, I see shows on a regular basis that are just stacked from an in-ring perspective. But when I take a step back from the really good matches, and I say to myself, okay, what stories are going on in AEW right now? That's where I think it's the company and the weekly television can grow and can get better. I think they've got the matches down, but can they get the story down and have that get to a better place? And tonight, I'm looking for a lot of these matches to kind of drive some of that story stuff. Hello to everybody who's joining us live. Sean, great to have you join us, man. Always a pleasure to talk wrestling. All good on my end. And then Zach, hello. I feel like hopefully you'll be very vociferous in your AEW opinions this week. That would be good, since this is the AEW show. Sean, I'm with you fundamentally, and I wanted to start the show here because I think the stories in WWE are at a higher level right now than AEW. In-ring work, the match quality, at a higher level in AEW right now. And I feel like when I think about that out loud, it's like, oh, wow, there's some, Zack is really like coming up with some brand new analysis on these two companies, but really like that's exactly what they're going for, right? I mean, that's the difference between the two pro wrestling companies. Like you have a company that's rooted in match quality, you have a company that's rooted in story, and I think both can take something from the other. But right now, I think AEW is further behind in the story space. And yeah, I mean, Zack, I mean, I'm not saying that those aren't there. Are these just because there are stories doesn't mean there's good stories. I mean, Starks and Jericho. I mean, is that? I mean, that's happening, but I think the feud has kind of gone backwards. I think Ricky Starks has already beaten Jericho. I don't really understand why, you know, we're continuing down this Jericho Starks road. The OGs versus the outsiders exist, but super messy. I mean, super messy. You've got Britt Baker, babyface heel. What is she? What's she doing? You know, Saraya. I mean, God darn, she's just a handful of months into her run, and the character's already kind of lost its way in terms of being like very unlikable at the beginning. MJF versus Danielson happening, yes, but it's not a hot feud. I mean, I wouldn't call it that at this point in time because you've got MJF kind of putting Danielson through the ringer again, same old. You know, Joe versus Wardlow, I'll give you that one. You know, I like the angle to close last week's show. I liked Wardlow coming back, and I think Samoa Joe is a great opponent for him to kind of chase down as far and get the TNT title back. And then Mox Hangman has been all right. It's been okay. You know, it's been solid. But tonight, I'm looking for a lot of these matches that we're seeing to help drive the stories of the what you just outlined, Zack. I think there's a lot of potential on tonight's show to give those stories some more heat. You know, first and foremost, let's talk about two matches that are surrounding the main event of AEW Revolution and that are front and center on tonight's show. We've got Bryan Danielson versus Rush in Danielson's kind of he's got to win this match to earn the 60-minute Iron Man match at Revolution against MJF for the AEW World Championship. That's there. Last week we saw MJF pay Rush off to get the win. He's got more money coming if he wins. We know the story here. As Sean is saying, we know how this thing goes. We know how this thing goes. You know, it is the same old story, but it's tried and true. You know, it works. MJF, I think, is working really, really hard if you're giving MJF the benefit of the doubt, you say to yourself, well, MJF's working really, really hard to make sure he's supremely unlikable. And this is a way to do that. This is a way to keep him in that space, in that arena. So that's happening tonight. Then on the flip side, you've got MJF versus Konosuke Takeshita in a singles match. Two really good singles matches on this show. But I think for us to walk out of this week positive on where we're going with MJF versus Danielson at Revolution, I think we have to see these two matches tonight like kind of connect almost and really kind of cross paths. Like Danielson, we know Danielson's going to beat Rush, which is kind of why I don't think this gimmick is a very good one for MJF in terms of paying off opponents, because we know the outcomes of these matches. We know that Danielson's not losing this match. That's an issue. But on the flip side, you've got MJF who's going to be working Takeshita, and you know he's not going to lose that match. So you have these two matches which are probably going to be very good, in which it's going to be hard to develop real true drama around them. I want to see these connect. I want to see Bryan Danielson and MJF really start to attack one another, not necessarily physically, but attack one another from a story perspective, so that the story between the two of them is growing, and the issue between the two of them is on display. And it's not so much Danielson chasing down MJF to get the opportunity to wrestle him. It's no, they're wrestling each other now. And now we got to build a feud between the two of them. What's the issue between the two of them? Well, it's the AEW World Championship, for one thing. It's Danielson trying to expose MJF as the fraud that he is, hence the Iron Man match. That's the other thing. We've got the William Regal factor. That's another piece of this story, although I'm not sure how much they're going to lean into that since he doesn't work there anymore. But you've got some angles that have just been forgotten out there in favor of, okay, Danielson's got to earn his right to wrestle the match now. And it's time to get down to the brass tacks of MJF versus Danielson. So, Sir Fark, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here. So it's time for that to start taking fold. And so I don't know how it's going to manifest itself. My prediction on tonight and what we're going to see is Danielson beat Roosh and then have Danielson somehow get involved in the Takeshita MJF match. That's, I think, the easiest way to do this. And then you have a couple weeks before Revolution to really jumpstart and get that match into a position that makes the most sense, and that people are really care about watching the 60-minute Iron Man match. Because I'll ask you guys in the chat, Sir Fark, Sean, Zach, anybody else who's watching this live, just drop your answer. I mean, are you spending right now $50 to see MJF versus Bryan Danielson? I mean, I outside of like, okay, it's a habit, right? I mean, is that today worth $50 in the main event of one of 4 AEW pay-per-views a year? I mean, I would say on paper, yes. I for sure would. I would say on paper, yes. I would say the 60-minute Iron Man stipulation helps, but in practice, I don't think we've seen a feud that is worthy of a buy at this point in time. Like, I just don't think we've got the story in place to like command that type of spend, really. The question was, is Bryan Danielson versus MJF in a 60-minute Iron Man match for the world title, as it stands today, is that worth $50 on pay-per-view? I mean, I that's not really answering my question, Mr. Barber. Is that main event worth $50? Not today. It's not. It's not. Calling a spade. But can they get it there? Absolutely. They've got plenty of time. And I think tonight is the night to pull the trigger on that. I think what you want tonight is a hot Bryan Danielson coming out of this show. A Bryan Danielson that's coming out of the show with all of the momentum in the world. He wins his match. He gets involved somehow in the Takeshita MJF match. Show goes off the air. Your challenger is standing tall opposite the world champion, the evil, bad, mean MJF. I think you need to build this groundswell of momentum for Danielson. That's key. It is not at a fever pitch right now of people that want to see Bryan Danielson take down MJF, and they have to start on the road to get there. And I think tonight is a good opportunity to do that, because you've got two key matches that are going to help you do that. MJF is in one of them. Bryan Danielson is another one of them. Boom. There you go. Like, I think you're on the road. To something there. But the match needs something. The match needs some juice. The match needs some momentum injected into it. My prediction is we see MJF win for sure. We see Bryan Danielson win for sure. But the real way that I'm going to be looking at these matches tonight, outside of the fact that, okay, they're good matches, because I think they both will be, but what are they doing what they need to be doing to build to the main event at Revolution? That's the key for AEW and for Tony Khan, and for both Danielson and MJF at this point. Okay, if you want to keep going on that topic and those two matches, drop your comments in the chat. We will address them. I'll man the chat here. I'll man the chat here and make sure that we get to everybody's comment. There's mixed reaction as far as whether or not people are going to buy Revolution or not, which is good, which is fine. It means they're not there yet, though. It means they're not there. Tracy, hello. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here as always. Sir Fark, interesting comment. I'll touch on this at the end of the show. Because there is some Elimination Chamber stuff being dropped in our chat. There's some Sami Zayn stuff being dropped in our chat. I'll make sure to get to it when we are done. All right, here we go. So, also, we've got Jamie Hayter versus the Bunny tonight. Okay, whatever championship contender match is, or elimination contender, whatever the hell they're calling it, it is what it is. Jamie Hayter's in action. I actually don't see anything wrong with this match. I think these kinds of matches are good. I don't think they should be attached to the title at all. The Bunny should not be anywhere near the AEW Women's World Championship at this point. It's completely ridiculous that she would be. I don't understand what the reason to avoid just having the champion wrestle. Just have Jamie Hayter wrestle. I mean, that's it. Like, go out there, wrestle, beat the Bunny, period. No championship eliminator or any of that nonsense, right? This is an easy one, guys. I mean, this is going to be Jamie Hayter. This should not go longer than about 4 minutes. Hayter wins, end of story. You may see kind of that OG outsider story kind of invade this year. I think that's a good possibility. As Zach is saying here, I think that you're right on the money there, Zach. I think this is the kind of a foundation to build that story on. But that's it. I would not be expecting much else out of this match here tonight, guys. Okay, we have Ricky Starks in the Garcia Guevara Gauntlet. Whew. Okay. Here's the deal. I guess I just want to know, and look, anybody in the chat who's watching live right now, Zach, Tracy, John, Shafar, whoever else. I don't know what the reasoning is for Ricky Starks to like go through with this gauntlet. He wants to get his hands on Chris Jericho, I guess because he was beat up by Jericho after he won the match, but he already has the win. Like, I guess my issue with this match is that it's kind of like the babyface seems to be getting taken for a ride a little bit. And like, wait a minute, why does he have to do this? Why does he have to wrestle 4 guys in order to get to Chris Jericho? And by the way, is he getting Jericho tonight, or is he getting Jericho at the pay-per-view, or is he getting Jericho next week? We don't have a good answer to that question. When this match was announced, not a good that was not rolled out properly. Now, that aside, the match is happening, and Ricky Starks has got a ton of momentum right now. I think he's one of the hotter acts on AEW. Like, I think, from a babyface perspective, and even from a heel perspective, you look at others on the show, who has more momentum from a character perspective and a crowd perspective and an audience reaction perspective than Ricky Starks. Maybe Jon Moxley, maybe Adam Page, although I don't know. I wouldn't put Page above Ricky Starks. I think Moxley for sure does. I think Adam Cole for sure does. But then I think you've got a level of guys after that are on Ricky Starks level. Like, I don't think Kenny Omega is above Starks, or the Young Bucks. I don't think they're above Starks. He's really done a wonderful job of taking the ball that he got last December in his feud with MJF and running with it. He is a success story in AEW. And so this feud on the surface is good for him. He's working with Jericho. I want to see a little more connectivity with the story, though. Why is it happening the way that it is? As Tracy says here, AEW is a tad too enamored with the gauntlet scenario historically. I would agree with that, Tracy. I would agree. Gauntlet matches can work very effectively to get characters and acts over and to like jolt them with momentum. See Seth Rollins a couple years ago. See Kofi Kingston a couple years ago. You know, that helped jumpstart their momentum. Starks could be the beneficiary of that after tonight's match for sure. But you gotta outline stakes. You gotta outline stakes here. And I think, Zach is saying here, I assume Revolution. And yeah, I assume I assume Revolution too. But we gotta know. We gotta know. And we gotta know why Ricky Starks cares so much to face Jericho again after that he already beat him once. We want to know that too. So I think this match is going to be interesting. I mean, I think Starks is going to run the gauntlet here. I think he's going to run it. He's going to win. That Jericho match is on the horizon. And like the best case scenario is you have an even hotter Ricky Starks coming out of this match because, it's just perfect for that type of babyface, for like the sympathetic babyface. That's Ricky Starks in this. And I think, he plays that part to a T. It's good. The match is gonna be good. I think the match is gonna be good. I just, again, with a lot of this stuff on this card and in AEW in general, like we gotta have there's gotta be some context. I mean, I feel like I use that word a lot when we talk about AEW, but there has to be some context here around why some of these things are happening. All right. Last but not least, in what I think will be probably maybe the opening match, we've got the Elite versus Top Flight and AR Fox for the AEW World Trios Championships. I don't know, guys. I don't know. You're going to have to convince me, pretty effectively that the Elite's in a good spot with this. Like I just don't know how I'm feeling about them these days. I mean, like, am I excited for the match? Sure. Yes, I like good wrestling. I like good wrestling matches. What does it mean? Nothing. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. As Sean just said here, Trios Championships just don't mean anything to me. They don't mean anything to me either. I don't think they mean anything to anybody. And you have kind of the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega who are out there kind of just doing their thing, and they're shooting baskets and they're acting like jerks and they're acting like, too cool for school. And they're just a really tough act to get behind right now. They are directionless and they shouldn't be. These guys are the reason, one of the few reasons that AEW exists. They're big stars. They're talented wrestlers. The fact that they don't have anything real and concrete going on and they're kind of tucked away in the trios division, like, this is crazy. And if they're going to be in the trios division, if they're going to try to anchor that division and make that division something, again, which I don't think is the right call, but let's say, okay, hey, we've got information that tells us that this division is what we need. Well, then inject some life into it. Give these guys an actual feud. You had the best of 7 series. Okay, that was what it was. All wrestling and interesting week to week. But, I don't think that's going to stand the test of time, as far as best of 7s go, because the titles didn't really matter. And so they need like a concrete feud. And, there's teams on the roster that can make sense with. Like, I look at House of Black, for example. Underutilized on their own. They come in, they come out, they leave, and they're around just like with no rhyme or reason. I mean, how about the Elite versus House of Black in like a 2-3 month feud, blood feud, where you just tell this story of these teams just hating one another. You can do singles matches, you can do tag team matches, you can do Kenny Omega versus Aleister Black, right? I mean, that's a hell of a match. There's so many different iterations you could do. And by the time they have that trios clash, like, you've told this story of these two teams that just can't stand one another. Not two teams that want to have a great match, not two teams that want to steal the show and get this is awesome chance, but like, tell an actual story, good versus evil or whatever. That's what's missing from the Elite right now. When's the last time they've had something like that? Like an honest pro wrestling feud on television. It's been a long time. It has been a long time. Too long for talents that are at the top of your roster. It's just way too long. It's unacceptable for like talents like that to be not utilized in a way that they should be. It doesn't seem like they want to be. It's frustrating. If I keep going, I'm gonna rant. CM Punk, for sure. Like that's the business. Like that's big business right there. Like I still think, and Tracy, it's great to call that out because we don't want to forget it. Sir Fark, I disagree. I think that's eventually, if you can get there, that's where you want to go. That is money. That's money. You figure out a way to put your egos aside and you work together. There are people that have hated each other way more than Punk and the Elite who have worked together in a wrestling match to draw money. Lots of people. It would be big time money. You do FTR and CM Punk against the Elite. I mean, that's huge match. You got to think Tony Khan, has kept CM Punk around for a reason. When it would have been easy to release him. Yeah, I'm sure there's legal, there's legal things for sure, and his contract is big and all that stuff. No question. However, if you can make it work, man, yeah, you make that work. But it goes back to my bigger point where it's just like, okay, tonight this is fine, okay, but you got here by Top Flight beating one of your top teams in Young Bucks, and it's kind of like this forgotten thing. You can't have these guys anchoring the company in this way. They have to be rolled into the fabric of what you do on a week-to-week basis. It's like Sami Zayn, right? Sami Zayn is a part of SmackDown right now. That's why you tune in and you watch that show. Roman Reigns too, but you tune in to see those guys. And I think a lot of people tune in AEW, at least at the beginning, to see what the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were going to be doing. And they just have taken a back seat. I want to see them out in front. So this match tonight should be great. Obviously, the Elite are going to win this. I mean, I have no doubt about that. The Elite are going to win. But it just highlights a bigger issue for me that I have with the Elite and watching them on a week-to-week basis, which is that there's so much more to be had there for them. Sometimes it just doesn't seem like they want to take it. Okay, rant over. Sir Fark jumping in here and saying, I think it's money. Agree. I just think he's a horrible human being. He could easily retrieve his lunch with his head so far up his, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and defend CM Punk as a human being. One thing, I don't know him. So I don't know whether or not he's a good human being. He certainly doesn't come across as a good human being at certain points in time. But again, there's lots of people in wrestling who aren't and weren't good human beings. You put that aside, within reason, and you book the matches. I think that's what you do. That's what you do in this instance. Okay, so that's the show. That's AEW this week. We will cover it all on PWTorch.com tonight. You can see Tyler's report live on PWTorch.com, Wade's report live on PWTorch.com. And then, of course, we will talk about it tomorrow right here on the Fireside Chat, all the fallout. Tyler and I usually break down the show to start things off. So, as promised, let's go back. I want to hit some of the topics about Sami Zayn. Zach jumps in here and says, it's worth buying, but is it worth buying Elimination Chamber to watch poor Sami get jobbed out in his hometown in front of his family? Sir Fart coming in, agreeing. Yeah, Zach, I'm absolutely dreading the Sami match. I just have no faith whatsoever that he would take the belts from Roman. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, you're suspending your disbelief in any wrestling match, right? Any wrestling program, because the outcomes are, predetermined, right? That's the root of it. But you still want to watch the matches because you want to get behind your person and your character and your guy or your woman. That's how the Sami Zayn thing is going to play out. Like Roman Reigns has had such a strong run with the title that, and I said this going into the Royal Rumble match against Kevin Owens, that it's almost like, you just like the bar for hey, this is a good build is low because it's just, hey, did they do a good enough job where you can suspend disbelief for a little bit and convince yourself that maybe Sami Zayn can win or will win? And I think they've already done that with this Montreal match. The story is going to be the central focus there. What happens in the match, that's just as important as the outcome of the match, because you're going to have an audience that's just on the edge of their seat, right? They're going to be hanging on every near fall. They're going to be fully behind Sami to win. And I think that is going to be so strong that even you guys in the chat right now who are wondering whether you'll be able to suspend disbelief will be hanging on those near falls also. You're not going to be sitting back and going, this is nothing because Sami's not going to win. No, there's no way. You guys are invested. Everybody's invested in the story. When Sami Zayn, when that bell rings and that match starts, it's going to be a reaction of, holy cow, let's go. We need Sami to do this. Let's go. That's going to be your reaction. That will be your reaction. And I'll never be able to know, Zach, but I promise you it will. You're into the Sami storyline. They've done a good enough job in creating this story where, you want to get behind Sami Zayn winning. Whether or not you think he will or not is almost irrelevant because you're going to be along for the ride for that roller coaster. You will be on that ride for the roller coaster. I mean, Zach, you are what you are. You are what you are. You were invested and they absolutely killed it. Dead as a doornail. I'd say you're in like the 1% on that. I think you are in the 1% on that. I think there's 99% of the audience is behind this, is invested in this. So again, it doesn't mean you're wrong. You feel the way that you feel, but the sense that I get in talking to folks and interacting on this show and others is that match is going to be hot. That's going to be like, remember Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle? Like, this match is going to be 5 times hotter than that. You haven't had a hot match like this in a long time in WWE. And then around the corner, you're going to have another hot one with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's thumbs up. 2 hot baby faces. As Sean says here, and I agree. That's a good thing. That's what you want. That's what you want. So I think you guys should just take a step back. let yourself get invested in this, because I think deep down, deep down, baby, you are. All right. On that note, we're going to sign off. Thank you for everybody who joined live. Again, you can catch our live AEW coverage at PWTorch.com. And then we'll be back tomorrow live right here, 4 p.m. Eastern, for the flagship episode of the Fireside Chat. I thank you all for listening. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Sir Fark, and everybody else who jumped in and joined us live. I appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. It helps us out a ton, and we very much appreciate it. Thank you all. We'll catch you guys tomorrow right here on the PWTorch YouTube channel with the Fireside Chat. See you.